Hello, it's Mike.
And Katie.
It's episode 193.
It's more vampires.
On Cup of Rad. I know we didn't go with the spooky intro this time.
No, it was so boring. It was like...
It didn't
vampires.
This didn't feel like the movies we watched this week didn't feel like it needed the spooky intro.
Yeah, we know.
Bram Stoker's Dracula
needed like epicness.
Dracula! Right?
Slash Transylvania / Russian voice needed for
Fucking
that.
guy.
Fucking guy. We just got that our rating right off the bat. Just didn't mess around with it. We're just like,
yeah, that's what you need, right? You need to go there. You need to get there.
we were just there. Just drop it.
It's just
mic drop.
Yeah, boom.
Mike did it first, not I.
Oh, Shambo.
Yeah, I always get blamed.
So.
But anyways, it is continuation of spooky season.
Vampires.
Why? By the way, you can't see me, but my hands are all like also in the vibe of the spookiness.
Yeah, they're wiggly.
They have to be wiggly.
Wiggly wobbly.
As if I am casting a spell for the spooky season.
Yeah.
But more vampires. Because as we promised, more vampires. Look at that. Holy cow, we are following through on a promise.
All vamps, all time, on Cup
All
of
the
Rad.
vampires.
That's how we suck.
How we suck?
Yeah.
We're just showing how much we suck.
Yeah, we are.
I'm just going to drop that one now.
In the gutter. So what ended this week? She-Hulk ended this week. And
Yes,
we haven't really ever talked about She-Hulk. And I bet you were just sitting there wondering, what the fuck
is going on?
They haven't mentioned She-Hulk once, and why?
We have watched it from the beginning.
To the end.
We have watched it
From
week.
the beginning to the end. Yeah, we did. So She-Hulk was originally, I wasn't super excited because the vibe that the trailer showed off felt more like a rom-com. So I wasn't like not gonna watch it.
You were like, this is happening. I guess we should watch it.
Okay, this definitely feels different. And then She-Hulk happened, and that show's amazeballs.
Now it's been like, it's She-Hulk day.
Yeah.
We have to
Thursday,
watch She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
Like, I'm sad when there stops being a show where I'm like, yes, it's this day. Like, I don't have any other shows right now. She-Hulk is over, and now I don't care what day it is.
Yeah. There's no life has no meaning.
There's no meaning on anything. You know, I have loved this show from the very beginning, really. And it just got better. I really, really enjoyed the vibe, the way it was laid out,
the humor
the
that was in it,
the humor,
the breaking of
I loved the calling out of the patriarchy. I also loved calling out the trolls. I loved all of that. It was so smart, and I can't say enough good things.
The writing that was in the show was top tier.
Yeah.
Like, just because it made fun of so many things that so many people actually complained about, but the show was already filmed before anyone got to watch it.
Like, they knew what was going to happen.
And all the trolls just fell in line with it. And it was good. It was interesting. I loved how everything kind of fell into place, and it was just different. And that was the one thing with some of the other Marvel shows. I felt like they were all pretty standard, and this one here stood out. It was different. There was action in different places that all the other shows didn't have. There was humor in places it didn't have. And it fell true to the old John Byrne She-Hulk comics, and the fourth wall breaking, and like just the change in pace.
I liked too how she wasn't just had her shit together from the very beginning.
Yeah,
she was learning. She had a lot of times where I was like, that was not a good choice, Jen.
Yeah, you
didn't make a good choice, and she had to stumble and learn. And I liked that because there was a certain amount of realism to it, for as real as we can jive with a She-Hulk. But there was, she was still stumbling through that. And I liked that but it didn't take too long where it was like, oh my God, why don't you learn? It wasn't frustrating. I never had any panic or heart attacks. That was nice. It was never like, oh God, Katie's got to watch this again. So I really enjoyed that. Yeah. And the Daredevil cameo type thing was phenomenal. And I remember, I forget how much I enjoyed that show. And I'm so excited for the new and going forward with
Daredevil
that.
Reborn.
Because I really liked him playing Daredevil and Matt Murdock. And so I'm really excited to see how it is. And the bit of humor for it, because it was so dark before, right? Yeah. And I'm all for that when it can be dark. It's fine, but I liked how they lightened it up, and you still really enjoyed him. He was still
you still got the cocky ass from Murdoch. Right?
Yeah, and so I really like that.
He's the
he's
shit,
amazing, right?
And that played into it well, and everything about it. I can't say enough good things about this one. This one surprised me, and I really did enjoy it. It's probably one of the most I've enjoyed of the Marvel TV shows.
Yeah.
Like it hit differently, and it made me...
So it was very refreshing feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it was light. It wasn't life altering or life changing, and that's okay because it never really felt like any of the MCU was that way. So it fit in almost with that vibe of like more of the earlier, not super early, but that like when they were getting their groove.
Yeah.
Where it was like, this is really enjoyable. This is really exciting. It's light and fluffy, but it's also really wants you coming back for more. Like it hit a lot of good places. So if you haven't watched it already, highly recommend it.
Yeah.
That's why we left this spoiler free.
Yeah.
But please check it out.
Totally.
So now it's movie time.
That's right.
Already. We're jumping right in there.
So this week's a little different because the way our week planned out.
I had my hair appointment. So I was at home.
You had your yoga.
I had yoga, like a lot of things happening, but we wanted to be here for you guys.
Yeah.
So we still made it happen.
We still endured. Endured.
So in part of that was solo movie watching time.
So this is like solo review time. So
can I say solo time can still be fun?
So yeah, if you want. Yeah, solo time can be fun.
Yeah. So what fun did you get up to, Mike?
Yeah, it was not fun.
It was terrible.
No, I don't know. I was, so I watched my movie when you were at a yoga class. So I only had like an hour and a bit.
I was going to say that's a short movie.
So I found an 88-minute vampire movie on Netflix. It was called Priest. It starred Paul Bettany. And the guy that directed Legion the year before this came out directed this as well, which wasn't a good movie.
So there was a lot going for it.
And Carl Urban starred in this one as well.
So it was really just the stars that were going for it.
That's where I was like, okay, cool, let's check this out. So Priest is basically like a post-apocalyptic world where like vampires are more like demon-y looking things, and they're like zombie like attack like in groups, and
they're really the monster aspect.
They've ravaged the world, and you get like this flashback scene at the very beginning where like these they're called the priests. The church has put together a band of superhuman soldiers that are priests.
How are they?
They're like monks, and like they have tattoos of a cross on their forehead. That
made them okay.
And
holy blessed with holy tattoo.
I guess, yeah.
I like it.
And so then it showed Urban's character getting pulled away into the darkness. So this was taunting Paul Bettany's character. Yeah. So basically, like, then you get this whole montage about like how like the priests like battled the vampires back through animation, and that the humans built like a safe city, and like the vampires were supposed to be gone, but it was like this wasteland, and like, yeah.
Okay, so it was a battle of priests versus monsters.
So then like the movie starts, the idea that the vampires are starting to like encroach on like these like outlier towns, but they're like Western towns. Yeah. And Carl Urban was like a cowboy.
Is this supposed to be staking?
Was it in the future?
It is in the future, but we've also gone back to Western times.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Carl Urban is the man in the black hat, they call him. He's the first human vampire hybrid. So like it changes the lore completely. Of like the idea where like,
so he's like a blade type thing, or
no. He just looks like a regular vampire that you would see in every other show.
Oh,
because all the other ones are all like white and skinny and like toothy.
Oh, so he still looks like a human.
Yeah, so this is like the idea. This is the first time they've like turned a human to still stay a human. I don't know. Yeah. So it's mainly an action movie. It's PG-13. It feels like a Sony like underworld movie.
Oh, we got another one of those. Okay.
Yeah, because it was made by Sony.
Oh, that's good that it feels like a Sony movie then.
Is it? Is it?
Well, it's understandable.
Understandable. Yeah.
Is that better?
So yeah, like the coolest scene in the movie was when like Paul Bettany walks out and opens up his book and like shakes the book and all these like crosses fly up in the air in slow-mo, and then they like turn into like throwing stars, and within the time it takes, he then is grabbing them and throwing them like ninja stars. That was the coolest moment in the movie, but that was also in the trailer.
Oh.
Then there was a big battle on a train because they were going to crash the train filled with vampire sacks of like baby vampires.
I was gonna say, what is a vampire sack?
Yeah, like think Van Helsing with the
okay,
baby,
yeah.
like they were like, yeah, the man in the black hat was gonna crash a train into
so
the
they're basically
city.
just like intense fighting of these monsters and trying to stop them from encroaching on everything.
But there's a twist. Paul Bettany has a daughter, and the man in black hat kidnaps her.
Oh.
And uses her as bait, so he has to like.
So who's the good guy and who's the bad guy?
Paul Bettany's character.
Is the good guy?
Yeah.
So is Color Urban a bad guy then?
Yeah, because he's a vampire.
I know, but I wasn't sure if he was like trying to be like the anti-hero or something like that.
No.
No, it's really just like giving a more human bad guy than just the monsters.
So like the idea was like
the leader of the band.
The queen vampire turned him and showed him that they should all be vampires because woot, we're vampires.
He's also making hardcore like metal signs with his hands. It's fantastic. And just giving you visuals.
Yeah.
Vampires.
It's very shot in much of that blue tone, lots of really crappy CG. Like it's an early 2000s movie.
I was gonna say how old.
Actually, I don't know. That I can't give you an exact time.
We're looking that up. Stand by.
Yeah, so no, it was not a good 2011.
Oh, okay.
So it's barely 10 years old.
Oh, okay. So it really didn't stand the test of time. It really feels like
no. It was a.
It felt like it was.
I was bored.
Yeah.
Honestly, like
well, when I came home, you're like, so I watched this. It was terrible.
It was an 88-minute movie that felt like 2 hours. Because there wasn't enough action and enough, like, yeah. I don't recommend it. Don't. Just don't. It was like, you know what? If we're going on the whole like review of using the analogy of the cup and how it filled it, it's kind of like that. Like, oh, cool. There's still coffee left in my cup, and then you go take a sip, and it's just like it's grainy and cold.
Oh.
And you're like,
coffee sludge full.
Oh shit! I shouldn't have done that.
Why did I do that to myself?
Yeah. I love
that analogy. Yeah. It's coffee sludge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Priest, coffee sludge did not fill my cup.
So next up, we enjoyed a movie together.
We did. Only Lovers Left Alive.
I was gonna leave that for Mike to say because I keep.
You notice we love to watch movies with really long titles.
Yeah.
I think that would be the epitome. If I ever made a movie, I would just make the longest fucking title possible.
Will it have like the subtitles of things or just really one like long a sentence for a title?
Well, like you could vary it. Like maybe there would be like parentheses in some spots.
Can we use grammar and everything? Right. Hyphens and semicolons and parentheses?
But like
I think parentheses, those are my favorite.
I think like the moment it becomes a bit of a tongue twister and you're like
I like ellipses. I think that's what they're called. The little 3 little dots. I had to share that and teach that to Kiddo the other day. He's like, "What is this?" And I was like, "I think it's referring to the 3 little dots," which when I use them, it's the 3 little dots.
Because like you think only lovers left, that could easily be it. But then the alive,
I keep forgetting that one, right?
Right.
But I mean, it's really
how
important.
often it's only a four word.
Only Lovers Left Alive.
Yeah.
It doesn't really feel that long.
But it is. It feels long.
Anyway, so it is our very arty type dramatic movie.
From 2013?
Yeah, from 2013, which somehow we don't understand how we never realized it was there until now.
Yeah. Tilda Swinton.
Yes.
Tom Hiddleston.
Which is, again, why I don't understand why I didn't know it was made until now, because I love him.
Mia Wasikowska?
Did she play...
Alice.
Oh, okay.
John Hurt. Anton Yelchin. Jeffrey Wright.
For a moment. So...
It was directed by the guy that did Only the Dead... No, what was it?
No, not Only the Dead. It was the Bill Murray and...
Dead Lives of the Rich and Famous.
We have our shit together, I promise. We just don't sound like it right now.
Oh my goodness.
Stand by.
The Dead Don't Die.
There we go. We watched that last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
We really enjoyed it. This one did not have that same level of dry humor in it. It was
there was no humor.
It was drama.
Pure dramatic.
On that note, my first thoughts of this, though, as much as it's very much a drama, I really did like it.
It was mesmerizing to watch.
It's like, I keep trying to think about, why did you like this, Katie? I don't quite know why I liked it, but I really, like, in my soul, loved it.
I think it's because it was a completely different vampire movie.
Yes.
They weren't vicious. They were just trying to live.
Yeah.
They were also tired of the monotony of life.
Yeah, so they're really, really, really old, like centuries old. And John Hurt plays what is the conspiracy theory behind who William Shakespeare is. Yeah. And so that's the level of like age for them, right? So Tilda Swinton plays someone, she lives over in Tangier, and she's very much just a bookworm. She likes to read. It shows how well she loves to read. She's very focused on reading and books. Tom Hiddleston plays Adam. So Tilda is Eve, not any sort of religious Adam and Eve by any means. He plays Adam, and he is very much music and science, which is, I think, why it was like this perfect thing.
Yeah.
Like, I love him anyway. I really love his acting style too. But then music and science, and it was just like, holy crap, you are this perfect man. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. So I really, really like loved that vibe that he had but he talked he referred to all the humans as zombies, and it was very much of the I'm tired of living the same thing, watching the humans destroy their world and tear down their scientists and tear down their creative and imaginative people, and constantly be ruining their world around them, or always waiting until something is like beyond repair before they finally react. So there was a lot of good commentary in there with that.
Yeah.
So they're married, they're like forever in love idea. So it really still is a love story, and trying to just deal with the plight of an immortal.
Yeah.
Essentially is what it really is, comes down to. And then the plight of a vampire having to deal with a world that is changing with blood that's more intoxicated and riskier and scarier to get and harder to get away with things.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different take on the look of the vampires.
Well, yeah, I love the fact that they have to try to find pure, untainted blood, because the blood that they drink from those that, like, you know, are on substances and stuff make them sick, right?
Because I mean, think about how many people are either on some sort of medication, just medication in general of any sort. I mean, who knows how that would, even just blood pressure medication, how would that affect a vampire? You know, medication, let alone alcohol or drugs of any sort, right? So.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, they talk about the alcohol for sure, right?
Yeah,
How
definitely. That was more the apparent version for it, right?
So I think that was really cool to see that, right? Because you get introduced to Eve's sister, who is definitely young and doesn't care about the messes that she leaves behind. Still drains humans. At her need.
With the oopsie daisy.
Look what I did, but I'm still hungry. Give me more.
Yeah,
like it definitely
very much of a kid.
Yeah, it gave you that feel of like, you know, of where it would be wrong when it was wrong to necessarily turn someone, because especially if they're young and if they're a younger vampire too. Yeah, to see that change, right? So as much as it was very dramatic, and it was an interesting slice of life, almost character study of these two characters and their love and what they needed to go through to be in a 21st century world without causing a ruckus, right? Just to continue to live. So it was also cool to see like the idea, like if they didn't drink, that they got more sluggish and slow, and
it was like they were starving to death.
Right. So
and the blood, when they would drink, it almost had like a drug vibe.
Euphoria.
Yeah, it looked almost like they had taken something and they were just like so overwhelmed, with like this euphoric thing, and then almost like a passing out type thing. Like it was very overwhelming amounts of elation from them, right? I also really enjoyed, as much as it was a love story, it wasn't about an ebb and flow of their love. That was just a static, it was there. And it never changed. It was, you got introduced for them, like, you know, the idea of an immortal, where it's like, oh, maybe I didn't see you today too much because I had to do my own thing. But for someone who's lived for centuries, it's like, oh, I didn't see you for 50 years. And I'm doing my own thing, but it didn't really change how our relationship is. And I thought that was really interesting, because that was not the point. The point of the movie was not about their relationship. It was just as is. And it was so deep, and it was so authentic feeling. And I loved it so much. I really enjoyed this movie.
It was, you know, it was that 2 hour and something movie. And like, I never once got tired or like frustrated, but because
it was fascinating to watch.
Because it was fascinating. And a lot of the shots were fascinating, and a lot of the way that it was put in, it made it interesting. Like everything about it was interesting. So, Only Lovers Left Alive. We found it on Tubi, is it? Yeah.
Which, that was my only gripe, was the fact that we actually had a little bit of commercials on there. I was like, what is this?
But it's definitely worth checking out if you want a different vampire tale that's not your traditional blood-sucking fiend, I'm gonna attack you, rawr. It's a drama. You know, and a well done drama at that.
Exactly.
That was
definitely a well done movie.
Sludge. It filled my cup. It was getting close to being a latte.
I was gonna say, is it a latte?
I don't know if it was a latte yet. Maybe it was an Americano.
Americano, like a little something extra.
Like there's enough of a hit that's like, yes, but
see, I don't know why. I can't even explain it, but it's a latte.
It's a latte?
Yeah. I think it's Tom Hiddleston.
But
it was because he loves science so much, and
the stuff of
music, and like
the writing in it was just brilliant with how they talked about it, because it still fits in today's world.
Well, right, he's talking about all the different past scientists, and like he says, well, Darwin, they're still questioning and laughing and ridiculing him, and I'm like, they still are, like, it's ridiculous. Oh my goodness, right? I just, you know, you really feel their sadness, but also the joy. Like I can really resonate with his joy that he finds for all this music, and like that really spoke to me itself, like feeling like just overwhelmed with emotion in every sort of sense for it. So like I really, really enjoyed it, but that's just my deep connection that I can't explain with it. But
no, it's cool.
But definitely go check it out.
Only Lovers Left Alive. Don't forget the alive.
Yes. Only lovers left. Yeah. Alive. The alive is important, right?
Yeah. So I had to work. So you got to do what you wanted. Well, what did you do?
I promised that I needed to follow through and continue on the Twilight saga. And Mike was like, I have to work. You do that.
You do you.
You have fun with that. I don't feel like a nap this week.
Yeah.
So,
I could have had a nap, but
you could have.
I worked instead.
Well, you know what? Valuable time right there.
Yeah, right?
That was better time. So I watched Twilight New Moon. I am happy to say it was marginally better. He's not, I'm starting to talk about it. Literally, he yawned. He hasn't yawned for hours. I say Twilight. He's like, oh, time for my nap. That was phenomenal timing. Oh my goodness. So, but yes, it was better overall. Now, this is also being in the level of what the very lowered expectation for a movie was. But I was happy that because I was expecting, like, I'm gonna put this on in the background. I'm gonna go play Sims. Like, I'm gonna do other things. I'm just gonna have it there so I can see it, because I'm not really gonna have to pay attention to it. I actually paid attention to the entire thing. I never multitasked. Do you like that?
Yeah,
I like
apparently
that.
you didn't.
I did not. I mean, I subjected Kiddo to the first little bit of it because I'm like, dude, we got to start this movie. It's a long ass movie. We're gonna eat dinner and we're gonna start this movie. And he finished and went right off to play his game, and I just hung out and watched it. And I only near the end was like, okay, when is this gonna be done? This is kind of dragging on a little bit because it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes long. Which being such 2009, that's a long movie from back then even too. So this one here, you basically from the fallout of Twilight, then when the bad little pack of vampires was coming after them, the only way that Edward saw to protect Bella is to leave, because that's what they do, right? It's like, oh, I'm helping you, but I'm actually going to break your heart and I'm running away. So I don't want you with me. I don't want you around me. I'm not going to tell you why, of course. Like, I don't want you anymore. Drama. Yeah. So he takes off, and so she's just devastated, of course. Life is over. It has 3 months go by of her sitting in a chair circling through the seasons, and she's just sitting there, and she's gone into like super uber depression, and like life is terrible. She's stopped hanging out with her friends. Her dad basically tells her that, you have to go live with your mom because damn, she wakes up screaming every night. She's like, so she finds that so her dad threatens and says, okay, hey, you know what? You're leaving. Like, I can't deal. He's sleeping on the couch. She's all worried for her. Understandable. She's like having a full breakdown. Yeah. And she decides, no, I'm not going to leave. I can't leave because I'm supposed to go shopping with my friend tonight. He's like, you hate shopping. What are you talking about? No, we're going to go shopping. So she ends up going to the movie with a friend. Well, when she leaves the movie theater, she sees this pack of biker guys that seems to they remind her of the guys that attacked her when Edward saved her in the first movie with the car and everything. And she gets all like flashbacky and like sentimental for the danger and protect me. So she goes walking towards them, and Edward, like this mystical holographic version of Edward, shows up and tells her to stop and to turn back around and leave it alone. His force ghost shows up. Literally, Edward has a force ghost. Tells her to stop, turn around. Well, she keeps going, and he would pop up. No, don't do this. Don't do this. Well, she says, I'm trying to see something. She ditches her friend, goes and finds some strange biker guy, and gets on the back of the motorcycle. And Force Ghost Edward is sitting there telling her, like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah. Why are you doing this to yourself? And then she screams at the biker guy to stop, and he slams on his brake, and it's just like, I'm done. Yeah. And it's like, so that's her new thing. So now she realizes that if she has like near death, like stupid decisions, because she had promised him she wouldn't do anything reckless. I totally forgot to tell you that when he did leave, it was like this super drawn out, like crazy ass, like I'm wandering through the woods and I'm just like falling apart and the world's dying. And she goes and like collapses on the forest floor and she's missing. And one of Jacob's,
who's Jacob?
Jacob is the native there that lives in town. Who's,
the werewolf.
No, the werewolf. Who one of his clan basically finds her and saves her. So then there's that connection with that, right? So then she realizes that this like mad rush of adrenaline and stupid choices, she can see Edward. So she buys these dirt bikes and brings them to Jacob's and it's like, you're my mechanic friend. I'm suddenly into riding bikes. Like, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
She totally uses that fool. I felt so bad for him. It was, you like me. I know you like will do anything for me because I'm sorry, she is not that dumb. She knows that he would bend over backwards for her. She brings these 2 dirt bikes and says like, yeah, we're totally going to hang out every single day and you're totally going to like remake these bikes for me. They're totally not worth it at all, but you're going to do this. And she sits there every single day. And so they develop this really close relationship and friendship. And she makes these dirt bikes and then she goes hauling ass on one without a helmet. And she goes and she doesn't hit the brakes and she launches herself into a boulder as she crashes. But in all the midst of this, Force Ghost Edward is there. So that's what she's now, that's all of her life now is to just do something so stupid that Force Ghost Edward shows up. Yeah. I felt so bad for Jacob. Like I felt really bad because I was like, she legitimately used him. Huh. And so then the whole point of all, she's still trying to reach out to Edward. She's emailing Alice all the times and it's not getting anywhere. And so it just keeps getting worse with that. Well, then she starts trying to make friends with her friends again. And felt pretty funny though. The guy that was like, had a crush on her in the first movie there. Like literally she just finally comes back over to her lunch table. So scared little rabbit here, hasn't talked to them for months, just comes over. Literally the first things that he basically asks her is like, hey, you want to go on a date? It's like, dude, you totally overstep it on that one. But in she takes it as like, sure, it's going to be a group thing. So she invites everyone. Well, then the only people that are left are this guy and Jacob. Everyone else was sick and had problems. So then in the midst of that, because Jacob's not a werewolf yet, right? He's not known about that. Well, then it's starting to show like he keeps talking about this Sam guy that he keeps getting pulled over to and wanting to like, Sam wants to like bring me into the pack. He keeps talking about that. And so after the end of this movie, then this guy says, he ended up getting sick during the movie because he was getting sick. And he gets all of a sudden, Jake gets all like crazy and like wants to pick a fight with him. Like his temper just went through the roof and she's like, dude, you have a fever. Like you're burning up. Like, and he just takes off. Well, then it goes days and days and days. And his dad tells her that he has mono and he just up and disappears. So remember he had really long hair. Like he had crazy, beautiful, long flowing hair. She finally goes over to his house and he cut his whole hair. And it's all super short and like, military cut almost. And it's essentially like that whole that bit, that was his transformation into a werewolf. So the burning up, because the whole myth that he tells her in that first movie there is about the cold ones. And so therefore they're the warm ones, they're warm blooded feel. So the wolves always have this hot blood essentially, and it's their temper. It's a whole it's an analogy for that, right? So Sam is the alpha. That's why he keeps trying to pull him through, and so he of course is like, I can't tell you, but I want to tell you. But, I'm told I can't tell you, and I'm like la 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 la. So it's like stereotypical romance where it's like, you just can't be around me. You just go away. And back and forth like that. So now she's got 2 guys that are telling her that she has to go away well, she does. Then she gets attacked by the clan of vampires, the dude with the dreads and everything in the suit, because he's trying to tell her like, hey, you know what, you need to Victoria's looking for you, and it's only fair that she gets to kill you and everything. Well, then this pack of wolves come flying out of the forest, and she doesn't know what they are. That they're just big ass wolves. Like, they're huge too. They looked really cool. Like, for the CG for them, like, I am impressed. They looked like cool wolves. Well, they take out the vampire and they go after him. So then later on, then she basically finds out, because she goes and tries to report them. She tells, like, her dad that, hey, there's these wolves out there. That's what's been killing these people that you're looking for. Well, then when she gets attacked by Victoria, then he freaks out and he, like, transforms in front of her. And then it's like the holy crap, you're a werewolf thing. And
gotcha.
It's like, but she takes it really cool. Like,
well, she did just deal with vampires.
Whatever,
Because if you believe in one, you believe in them all, right?
Yeah. So then she kind of gets thrown into all of this and kind of learns more about them. And they start, like, then they had the whole, like, werewolf against werewolf, like, fighting. Yeah. It was one thing I did really enjoy, though, it was, because I did kind of laugh, though. It was like, don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry. Like, that was literally, like, the vibe that they had. And Sam gets all up in her face. And so Jacob comes to her rescue. Well, then he gets chucked against a tree and, like, transforms in, like, one hole, like, as he's flying, and he transforms. So apparently he's like, so not all of their family has these genes. It's like a special thing to be a development. It almost seems like a puberty thing, like you develop it at some point when you get older. And so he's apparently really strong and really good at transforming. And so he's kind of a special, like, breed type thing of them, right? So in the midst of all of this, though, Edward, of course, is still gone. And well, then Alice shows up. And because she had done something, she jumped off a cliff and almost died, and Jacob saved her. And Alice comes rushing over because she couldn't tell that she was okay. She's like, I can't see that you were okay. I don't know how. But you find out that she can't see past the werewolf. Like, the werewolf almost masks what's going on with her. So, well, then the phone rings and Jacob picks up the phone and he says, no, he's not here right now. He's planning for a funeral. Well, the funeral that he was talking about was his friend's, because he had a heart attack after being attacked by Victoria, actually. Well, that was Edward. And Edward just takes that as if Bella's dead, because that was what Alice had thought had happened. Oh. So Alice all of a sudden is like, well, Edward thinks you're dead. Like, he's going to go to this very important family in, like, Italy, Voltaire family. And they're basically, like, the ruling vampires. There's, like, a clan of, like, 3 of them. And they basically are there to kill vampires who have broken the pretty much only enforced rule of don't let humans know about us. Yeah. So he's going there to basically commit suicide because he can't live without her. So then now it's this mad rush to get to Italy to save him from committing suicide. Oh, okay. So then he basically go there. Well, they basically just denied his request because of his special power. So they all then apparently have different special powers for different things, right? So then you learn more about this. Well, then you learn that Bella is actually immune to all vampire powers, pretty much. They try to test them out, and none of their powers will work on her. So she's like this mystical immune to vampire thing. And so they decide so Alice, you can tell, lies, that says, you've seen it, she's going to be a vampire. And they basically are like, well, she's going to be a really interesting immortal because of her ability. Like, okay, fine, we'll let everyone live. Everything's good. Like, we aren't going to kill anyone for being insolent and, like, anything like that. So then they basically leave there, and then they show back up at home. And of course, then we have Jacob and Edward on both sides of Bella with, like, but you love me and you love me and la la la. And it was basically like, yeah, Jacob, I love you, but don't make me choose, because it will always be Edward. Yeah. I'm like, I really love the love story, but I also feel really bad for Jacob. Yeah. Because I get it. I really do. And because Edward was basically like, I thought I was protecting you, but I won't ever do that again. And, like, but then she still thinks in her head that she's just going to be turned, like, immediately into a vampire. So everything's fine, because this whole time she's been having nightmares about getting old. And but basically Edward convinces her to give him at least 3 years of being a human, essentially. Yeah. And that's their compromise, and then where they leave it right now. And then that's how it ended. It was like, okay, so Edward, they're back now, and Jacob's still like angry and just feuding in the corner. But so you find that Jacob says that their treaty, if any of the Cullens bite a human, the treaty is off between the werewolves and the Cullens. So basically, if they turn Bella, their treaty is off, even if she chooses to. So like, this is like the soap opera sounding of like, it's waiting for this big, like, you know, it's going to happen at some point then. And so as I say, there was a lot more happening. It was still a cheesy teen drama. Yeah. But there was a lot more happening. Yeah. Now you get like a solid recap of that movie. Wow. But, I mean, it's really fresh in my memory because it was only the night. But, so as I say, okay, so a lot there, a lot more happening though. Definitely better though, because there was less like awkward glances and staring at one another and more actually happening. And also better acting. Bella was not nearly as like, because of that more of established character, because even Jacob wasn't a brand new character. There was no one new in the movie other than a few of the other werewolf kids, right? Like that was about it. But who cares really, you know? Yeah. Yes, you had more development with Jacob. So he kind of took the place of like the awkward kid. But I mean, there was a lot of gratuitous, unnecessary man flesh in this movie where it was like, because she makes comments of like, dude, you're really bulked up over this summer. Like, you know, you shouldn't be taking steroids. And it's like, oh, I'm just filling in. Well, then all of a sudden, once he turns, she goes over to his house. He's in the rain and he's got no shirt on and he's so super jacked and ripped. Yeah. Like super V and muscles and like everything. Yeah. And it's so funny because I kept focusing on her face and she's like, trying to look at him, but then just keeps checking out his body. And you could it was so apparent, like, I'm listening to you, but your chest. Like, that's just the whole look that she had, and it was so funny. I mean, she played it well because that was what they were trying to get, honestly. But
that's funny.
But I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, so basically, I thought that was interesting. Edward had he was trying to, in his quest to commit suicide, essentially, he was going to unveil himself to the humans, and she, so it was on a positive on their like love relationship. She goes and she just at the last minute tackles him basically out of the sunlight in Italy there, and he doesn't believe that she's actually there because she told Alice, like, I have to be there to show that I'm actually real. Otherwise, he's not going to believe anyone that just says I'm alive. Like, he needs to see me, right? And it really was touching because he doesn't believe her at first. He thinks he actually like died. And then it's like, wait, no, you're actually here. Like, holy crap. Like, this is. Yeah. So it was very touching for sure. There was a lot of good, much better romance and like, you know, but it was that idea that the thing with her and Jacob felt more legitimate because they developed a friendship after hanging out, opposed to that like princess love at first sight feel that it feels like with her and Edward. So it's adorable, but it gets caught up in that fakeness where that's why I feel bad for Jacob, because it really feels like he's really pined over her, but he put in a lot of time with her for things, like really trying to help her out. And she was just like, whatever, like, that's nice. You were only going to be there because Edward was not. Yeah. You know, so I'm actually, I'm not going to lie, I'm looking forward to the next one because I'm curious to see then how it's going to play out now with everything. Like, because, you know, at some point the tree is going to get broken. Yeah. It has to. And see what happens with that, right? So, but at the end of the movie, though, it ended with Edward proposing to her and basically said, the only way that I will turn you is if you marry me. So, and I know that from spoilers about them getting married. So I was like waiting. I was like, when I heard that, I'm like, okay, this is going to be the end of the movie there. So that's how it ended. It's like fade to black there. So,
My recap was like 5 minutes. You're just like 4
Mine
hours later.
was.
You had a lot to say on this.
I did. Because I actually have really good memories of this. This is what happens when you actually get me talking about something so quick after I watched it.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I think I enjoyed my movie more than you enjoyed yours.
Oh, it sounds like it. It definitely does. Like,
so I can't. I mean, most likely I will be watching the next one by myself again. So expect a much even longer recap at that, right? So it'll just be the Twilight episode, pretty much at this rate.
When you get to the fourth and the fifth,
how many of them, right? But I can't believe how long they are, though. Like this is gonna be impressive. So, I thought it was funny. I told my sister that I was watching those, and it was like, oh my god, I can't believe I survived the first one. I'm just gonna suffer through the second. And they continue to surprise me that my sister and my brother-in-law apparently are suckers for this movie and this books and the franchise. And I was like, that I was not expecting.
Didn't see that coming.
At all.
Didn't see that coming.
I kind of read the text twice. And what? She's like, I've seen it so many times just on TV. I have never stumbled across Twilight ever and decided to watch it. Sure. Okay.
That's funny.
So I thought that was quite funny. But now I definitely, it gives me more credence of like, I have to figure it out. But as I say, it's getting better, so I'm curious to see.
Yeah.
So, there you go. That was my very long-winded, exciting update on the Twilight series and how it's going.
Hey, that's good. I'm glad you had something to say about it versus it being like, damn,
like,
next.
What? And this is what we're doing now, and this was a waste of 3 hours of my life.
Right?
No,
that's good. That's good. So that's why you didn't want me to give up my shift next weekend because you got Twilight.
Because I have Twilight, so it's like, bitch, go work. I got movies to watch, yo. I got Sparkly Vampires and Jacked Werewolf Boys.
It is solo time for you to...
Solo time.
Gotcha.
Sure.
And with that note, know that next week there will be at least a Twilight movie.
If all else fails, there'll be a Twilight movie.
Because we's doing vampires all spooky season.
Yeah. I don't know what else we have really planned other than
we
Twilight.
wrote down.
Oh, we got plans. You're right. We're here for you with our blood-sucking excitement.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good times. We went more shopping too and did more Halloween prep. I got some awesome new additions for my costume. It's going to be exciting stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Good times.
Hopefully we get another dramatic one, another Twilight, and something.
And hopefully a better experiment for you. I really hope we find something better for that one.
I kind of knew I was going into a trash boat. I was hoping it would at least be entertaining.
Yeah.
But it did not. So...
Well, you know what? You have to see the crap to appreciate the others, right?
Yeah.
So
I always believe that. I believe when people say some movies are terrible, they haven't watched enough bad movies.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's the key, is that you have to see a lot of bad before you can even experience any of the good.
Yeah, makes sense.
So.
Well, everyone, thank you for joining us and have a spooky day.
And remember, stay rad.